What's so bad about Antifa? Antifa is an extremely polarized concept because it seems that far-left and far-right people fundamentally disagree as to what Antifa is. I will try to give perspectives from both sides based on common arguments I see. From the conservative perspective, Antifa is a group, but more of an ideology, that claims to be anti-fascist while engaging in fascist activities akin to the brownshirts in 1930s Germany, who were pretty much the foot soldiers for the early Nazi Party. These activities tend to be anti-free speech and condemn people, sometimes with physical violence, for saying things or promoting policies that Antifa broadly deems fascist. Conservatives point to the 2020 riots across the U.S. as examples of Antifa's destructive power. From a liberal perspective, Antifa is much more of an idea that is brought together under an umbrella of localized small groups that are actually anti-fascist. Some of these small groups might be more radical than others, but the majority of them promote peaceful opposition to radical right-wing ideas. Thus, someone wearing an Antifa shirt is simply promoting an ideology that is actually, in good faith, anti-fascist. Just remember that you're on Reddit when you're reading these replies. President Eisenhower was an anti-fascist. That teacher is someone who believes in human rights and is against racism. Only faux news viewers see it as a bad thing. This is what's bad. Many members, supports of Antifa think that 1. We're anti-fascist, therefore 2. Anyone who disagrees with me on anything must be, by definition, a fascist. 3. As a fascist, we can attack, assault then. That's the problem. They, Antifa in Portland for example, don't attack fascists, but anyone who isn't like them, using the above to justify it. Rose City Antifa in Portland don't actually protest fascism. They more or less destroy businesses and attack random people under the guise of anti-fascism. This group in particular uses the Antifa ethos as a broad reason to assault random people. This is what's bad about Antifa. There are Antifa groups which ironically use oppressive tactics in their attempts to get the point across, which has given the whole thing a bad reputation with some people. The same thing is said about being woke, too. Woke is derived from African American Vernacular English, AAVE, meaning alert to racial prejudice and discrimination. I think you can see the common thread for yourself there. If not, research white nationalism and ethnofascism, and you'll quickly come to understand why being anti-racist and anti-fascist is a threat to certain people. The origins of the words left and right as used to describe Western politics also play a role in this. The right referred, originally, to those who supported the unquestionable and immutable authority of the kings. Those who supported liberal, representative democracy sat to the left of the French National Assembly, while those supporting the monarchy, mostly nobility and such, sat to the right. The left has its origins in self-determination, veritable anathema to those whose origins are found in authoritarian rule. The right has since sought to claim the reins, after jumping on the bandwagon, with talk of liberty and freedom. This intensified after some leftists embraced socialism, with some of the most ardent conservatives claiming to speak for classical liberalism. That's just hogwash. They cling to strongman-type leaders, clutch their pearls when they hear talk of toxic masculinity, being unable to distinguish it from masculinity. They preach small government as they legislate the human reproductive process. I could go on, but this is already TL. Doctor. I don't think the idea of Antifa is bad. It's more or less the people who have been labeled as Antifa and people who inaccurately say they are Antifa. It's anarchist kids who use violence to push the fold, who are In simple terms, not Antifa in theory. They scare the Christians and right-wingers in general because Fox News and Breitbart told them so. Those Antifa are woke. You can call yourself anti-fascist while being a fascist. It's because most people on the fascist bandwagon in America don't realize it. They have right-wing media terrifying them of boogeymen, not realizing that they and their beliefs are the greatest threats to the world. They are the left's version of Nazis, and on top of that they whine a lot. Antifa is a very vaguely defined group, but at least some people who identify as Antifa proudly brag about beating up and attacking people they disagree with. Anyone they disagree with is conveniently labeled fascist. I have met people like this. It's odd that a large number of left-leaning people refuse to believe violent Antifa people exist. They have this attitude that is kind of like, I have met and personally know all 7 billion people on Earth, and not a single one of them is violent Antifa, so you must be lying about the people you met. We will probably see some people with this attitude downvoting and commenting on this thread any minute now. Antifa is a terrorist organization. It's the same as BLM. The ideas behind the group are decent, but the actions are not. Don't let people tell you Antifa isn't a group or doesn't have groups. It does. There is so much evidence of that. BLM gets a bad representative because they spent a year looting, burning, and destroying things like private and public property. Antifa does similar things. People dislike them because some groups that fall under the umbrella of Antifa use extreme methods. Of course, the irony here is that the school probably raises a flag which stands for a group that has done far worse. Anti-fascist and anti-racist equals anti-conservative. The people who are offended are the ones dishonest enough to pretend that bigotry isn't the core of their ideology. Lots of death, lots of injured, lots of destruction. They are basically the far-left extremists. They are okay with violence so long as it aligns with their views. There's nothing wrong with Antifa. Conservatives are just pissy that the people who oppose them have exposed them for who they are. Generally, if conservatives are getting upset, it's a good thing. It's a good question, and good on you for asking it. It's already been answered by you/178. And I'll just add that anyone you know who whines about Antifa is telling you a lot about their personality.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.